Out here, the wire stain just dust and gun smoke, its blood, betrayal, and legends carved in iron. These are the forgotten tales of outlaws, lawmen, and drifters chasing gold, vengeance, and redemption. Welcome to Dust and Iron Tales. The iron bridge stretched like a gleaming scar through the canyon's jagged walls, its steel, curse gleaming against the grey sky as a heavy cloud pressurized the Colorado wind. Silas, the surveyor Marsh, wrapped in his oil-stained coat, hunched near the control shack, eyes flickering between the massive rivets and the distant shimmer of the train's headlamp. His heartbeat was steady, a rivet drum that matched the distant rumble of the approaching armored flat car, cradling the territory's golden hopes. Below, the gorge gnashed like a maw, dark and wind-whipped, whispering secrets only the iron structure knew, secrets Rick had studied with chilling precision. Days prior, the bandits' crew had slithered into position, camouflaged beneath the bridge's underbelly, setting their pulleys and wedges with the care of surgeons. They knew the bridge's loops-like weaknesses, and tonight, they de-exploit them. When the train rolled onto the midpoint of the crossing, Silas saw the faintest flutter. A fabric wreck signal, an almost invisible flag tied tight against the girder beneath the swaying span. His fist clenched, knowing this was the pulse point of disaster or salvation. And then the crack. It was a scream of steel splitting sharp, sudden, horrifying. Rack-S wedges hammered into the load-bearing joints, creating a pattern of destructive harmony. The bridge shuddered, flexing like a living thing in pain, inches warping the track beneath the train. Silas watched helplessly as the gold shimmered in the fading light, slipping through the cracks of his trembling fingers. The sparkle in the dust made it almost impossible to believe that it was real solid, warm, weighty in his palm just moments before. His heart sank as he realized the tide was turning. The treasure he fought so hard for was now a fleeting dream. Behind him, the distant roar of voices and clattering footsteps grew louder, closing in on his hiding spot. He pressed his back against the cold stone wall, trying to steady his breathing, every sound amplified in the silence. A gust of wind carried a faint glint from the corridor, hinting that maybe someone else had their eye on the same prize. He cursed himself for not securing it better, for not being quick enough. The weight of regret pressed heavier than the gold ever could. Shadows stretched across the floor as the torchlight flickered, casting eerie patterns that danced like ghosts of what once was. Silas' mind raced should he try to make a run for it, or hide and hope they pass him by. His fingers itched to grasp the treasure again, to clutch it tightly and smother the regret deep inside. The logic told him that keeping it was more dangerous than losing it. The theft had already marked him as a target. As footsteps drew near, he felt a strange mixture of defeat and defiance boiling inside. With one last glance at the glittering heap, he made a decision he would not let this be the end of his story. Carefully, he emptied his pockets, leaving behind anything that might betray his position. The cold stone pressed against his back reminded him that sometimes, even the greatest riches are not worth the risk of losing everything. And as the door swung open, revealing flashes of armored figures, Silas took a breath and prepared for what came next. The air thickened with tension, each movement of the armored figures deliberate and measured. Silas' eyes flicked to the shadows lurking in the corners of the room, searching for any sign of a trap or an ally. A faint hum of machinery echoed from the hallway, hinting at the advanced technology behind the soldier's armor. He tightened his grip on the battered weapon at his side, knowing it might be all he had against such formidable foes. The leader stepped forward, voice muffled but commanding, asking in a tone that brooked no argument, stand down or face the consequences. Silas hesitated for a heartbeat, weighing his options as memories of the underground tunnels flickered through his mind. Suddenly, a shimmering device on the leader's wrist lit up, projecting a hologram of a map, revealing their intended target. The detail was clear. They were some steps ahead, closing in on the secret vault beneath the old city ruins. Silas felt the bead of sweat trickle down his brow, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. He knew he couldn't afford to show weakness now. These soldiers were relentless. Carefully, he lowered his weapon, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. Even as his mind raced with desperate plans, a voice crackled over a nearby comlink, giving new orders quick and precise. From the shadows, he caught a glimpse of a small group slipping away silently, eager to avoid the confrontation altogether. He wondered whether they were allies or enemies in disguise, but he had no time to ask. Every second counted. The armor-clad figures moved forward, their footsteps like the march of inevitability. Silas' mind flashed to the secret knowledge he carried, the one thing they could not take from him. He took a deep breath and prepared for whatever brutal confrontation was about to unfold. The leader raised a hand, signaling for silence, and Silas sensed that the game was about to change in a way none of them could foresee. The door as hinges squealed as it began to close behind the armored figures, leaving him alone in the dimly lit corridor. As he hurried after them, a fragment of adrenaline-laced resolve pushed him forward to this was the moment that would decide everything. He knew he was risking everything, yet somehow he felt a flicker of hope igniting in his chest. Maybe, just maybe, he could outsmart them, or even turn the tide in this silent war. With each step, the unknown loomed closer, but so did the possibility of salvation. The shadows swallowed him as he pressed onward, determined to reach the secrets that could change the course of history. The cool darkness seeped into his bones, whispering doubts he refused to acknowledge. Every footstep echoed unnaturally, as if the shadows themselves were watching and waiting. His lantern flickered, casting fleeting glimmers of hope among the encroaching gloom. Suddenly, a low rumble vibrated through the ground, not from beneath, but from somewhere unseen ahead. His breath grew ragged, yet he pressed closer, heart pounding with a mixture of fear and resolve. In that void, faint outlines began to materialize, rusted machinery, ancient symbols etched into crumbling stone. A faint glow emanated from a fissure in the wall, pulling him like a siren song. He squeezed through the narrow opening, dirt and debris falling around him as he entered the hidden chamber. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of ozone and forgotten secrets. His eyes darted around, instinctively searching for the relic that would rewrite history. Suddenly, a whisper echoed, not from the shadows, but within his mind, an invitation or a warning, he couldn't tell. He reached out, fingertips trembling, to grasp what lay on a pedestal at the chamber center. Just as his hand closed around it, a shimmering veil of light erupted, illuminating the entire space and revealing the true scope of what he'd uncovered. Outside, the shadows wavered, as if recognizing that the game had just changed forever. The weight of centuries pressed down, but a spark of purpose burned brighter within him. In that moment, he understood the secrets weren't just about power they held the keys to, understanding the very fabric of reality. His breath hitched as the hidden symbols flickered faintly in the dim light, revealing themselves only when he focused intensely. The library as dust seemed to swirl in a slow dance, as if the air itself was whispering clues only he could hear. He reached out, fingers trembling, and brushed aside a stray parchment to uncover a map, intricate lines weaving through impossible dimensions. Each symbol resonated with a faint hum, a vibration that tugged at his consciousness, pulling him deeper into the enigma. It wasn't just knowledge he sought now, but a portal, a gateway that could bend time and space. He remembered the stories his grandfather told about ancient guardians who guarded these secrets to prevent chaos. But now he saw that chaos was already seeping in from the edges of reality, fracturing the world he knew. His mind raced with possibilities. What if he could unlock the entire schema? Right, its meaning. He realized that mastering these secrets meant challenging the very laws that governed existence. A surge of adrenaline shot through him as he deciphered a final glyph that shimmered into clarity, illuminating a hidden chamber beneath the library. As he descended into darkness, the air grew thick with potential, each step echoing in the void. The walls seemed to pulse with a strange energy, whispering promises of power and understanding alike. He knew this was only the beginning. Once unbound, the secrets could reshape everything he thought he knew about reality itself. His heart pounded with anticipation and trepidation, knowing that with this knowledge, he now carried the weight of entire worlds. He took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill his lungs as he stared at the ancient scroll unfurled before him. Shadows danced across the dimly lit room, flickering like ghostly whispers of secrets long kept. Each word he read sharpened the ache in his chest, yet ignited a strange sense of purpose within. The realization sank in. This revelation could alter everything, dismantle old truths or forge new realities. He hesitated briefly, contemplating whether to share this burden or bear it alone. His fingers trembled as he traced the faded ink, the weight of knowledge pressing down on him like an unyielding force. Outside, the city hummed obliviously, unaware of the storm that now rippled through his mind. He wondered if others suspected what he had uncovered, if darkness lurked just behind their smiles. Time seemed to slow, every second stretching into eternity, as he wrestled with the implications. Memories of past choices flickered through his mind in moments where silence might have been safer than truth. Yet, he knew there was no turning back. The path forward was carved by this very truth. Steeling himself, he made a silent vow to carry this secret, no matter how heavy the burden. With a final look at the scroll, he pocketed it carefully, feeling the weight of both the knowledge and the destiny it heralded. He stepped into the night, a heart pounding still, destined now to face whatever storms awaited. He took a deep breath, the cool air sharpening his senses as the shadows stretched around him like silent guardians. Each step echoed softly on the cracked pavement, a rhythmic reminder of the unpredictability ahead. The moon, partially cloaked behind drifting clouds, cast fleeting silvery glimmers across his path, flickering like a warning. Somewhere in the distance, a distant siren wailed mourned a city that refused to sleep. His fingers trembled slightly as he reached into his coat, clutching the crumpled note that promised answers, or perhaps more questions. The first gust of wind carried a hint of rain, hinting at the storm that was surely gathering. As he pressed onward, the alleyways grew narrower, walls closing in like the secrets he carried inside. Suddenly, a shadow darted across his vision, darting, too quick to identify. His resolve hardened. He knew he couldn't turn back now, not without the truth. Every step brought him closer to the heart of the mystery, where hidden truth lurked behind veils of deception. His gaze flicked upward, catching a glint of something metallic near the rooftop, a sign that he was not alone. With a steadying breath, he moved toward the edge of a dimly lit park, senses alert for any sign of danger or salvation. Somewhere there, aside the noise, a whisper of familiarity called to him softly, promising answers but demanding sacrifice. The night felt alive, swirling around him with whispers of the past and future intertwined. Shadows seemed to dance just beyond his vision, feeding the suspense that tightened with every heartbeat. He knew that whatever awaited, he couldn't escape a collision course written in the stars. And yet, he stepped forward, determined to confront whatever storms the darkness might unleash. And yet, he stepped forward, determined to confront whatever storms the darkness might unleash. The air grew thick with the scent of rain and unspoken fears, each step echoing louder than the last. Shadows danced around him, flickering like ghostly whispers. Yet he pressed on, arms steady and mind focused. His heart pounded in his chest, a rhythmic reminder of both courage and doubt. Somewhere deep inside, he knew that retreat was not an option or any confrontation. As he advanced through the thickening gloom, faint glimmers of light began to pierce the shadows, giving him fleeting hope. The wind howled around him, carrying with it voices some distant, some almost familiar, calling him forward. Every fibre of his being urged him to turn back. Yet he stayed the course, driven by a strange sense of destiny. His eyes caught a flicker of movement, a figure lurking just beyond visibility, causing his breath to hitch. But he steadied himself, recalling that darkness often cloaks truth more fiercely than light. With each step, his resolve hardened, forging him into something new, something braver than before. The storm in the sky rumbled overhead, mirroring the tumult within him, yet he refused to falter. This was the moment where legends are born not in comfort, but in the face of chaos and uncertainty. As the shadows closed in, he reached the edge of the unknown, heart racing yet unwavering, ready to face whatever awaited just beyond. He took a deep breath, steadying himself as the darkness seemed to breathe around him. His footsteps faltered for a moment, but resolve pushed him forward, each step echoing in the silence. The air grew colder, and the faint whisper of wind carried secrets from the depths ahead. Suddenly, a flicker of light appeared, weak yet persistent, drawing him toward it like a moth to flame. He instinctively reached for his lantern, but found it unlit, the switch stubborn beneath his fingers. With a cautious glance, he pressed onward, eyes fixed on the shifting glow. Shadows danced at the edge of his vision, teasing and taunting, but he refused to look away. A faint melody drifted through the gloom, melancholy and haunting, yet strangely comforting. He remembered the stories whispered in campfires about this place, about the spirits that lingered here, both benevolent and malevolent. The ground beneath him softened as if welcoming him into his secret depths. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, cloaked and silent, yet strangely familiar. His pulse quickened, not with fear but with an inexplicable sense of recognition. The figure paused, then beckoned with an inviting gesture into the unknown. Without hesitation, he stepped closer, eager to uncover what truths lay beyond the veil of shadows. Without hesitation, he stepped closer, eager to uncover what truths lay beyond the veil of shadows. The air grew thick with a strange silence, as if the darkness itself was holding its breath. A faint flicker of movement caught his eye, a whisper of what might be a secret, just out of reach. His hand reached out instinctively, trembling slightly, brushing against the rough texture of the fabric that hid the hidden doorway. As he pushed aside the shadowy curtain, a cool breeze seeped through, carrying an unplaceable scent that tickled his senses. Inside, the space was dim but strangely inviting, revealing shelves laden with old, leather-bound books and strange artifacts. His gaze darted around as though searching for clues, his heart pounding with anticipation. Suddenly, a soft hum resonated softly from the depths, an echo of something long forgotten, maybe even alive. He stepped further in, muscles tense but curiosity outweighing caution. The room whispered secrets in the faint rustle of pages and the creak of aged wood. Shadows danced across the walls, disturbing the faint glow of a lone candle flickering in a corner. He moved towards it, feeling an inexplicable pull, knowing he was on the verge of something transformative. In that moment, a silent understanding settled over him. This was only the beginning of what he sought. Each discovery would peel back layers of mystery, revealing truths buried deep within the darkness. And with every step forward, he felt more certain than ever he was destined to uncover what lay beyond. And with every step forward, he felt more certain than ever he was destined to uncover what lay beyond. The horizon stretched endlessly, cloaked in the soft glow of dawn, promising secrets waiting to be revealed. His breath came in steady, deliberate draws, each inhale fueling his resolve. The path beneath his feet was uneven, edged with wildflowers and jagged stones, yet he pressed on without hesitation. Shadows danced at the edges of his vision, whispers of stories untold lingering in the morning air. Somewhere ahead, he sensed a pull, an invisible tether urging him closer to the unknown. His heart beat faster, not with fear but with anticipation, an unspoken siren call that beckoned him to continue. The landscape gradually shifted from dense forest to open plains, revealing a vast tapestry of colors he'd never seen before. A cool wind brushed against his face, carrying faint hints of unfamiliar scents, earthy, spicy, and sweet all at once. He paused briefly, eyes scanning the distant horizon, envisioning what could be hidden there. Every step seemed light, as if the journey itself was clearing a path for his discovery. His mind raced with possibilities, from ancient relics to long-forgotten civilizations buried beneath timeless weight. The sun rose higher, casting golden rays that invited him onward, illuminating the way. Somewhere deep inside, a voice whispered that this was only the beginning, and the real revelation still lay ahead. The moment felt sacred, a testament to his unwavering curiosity and the courage that carried him beyond the familiar. He took a deep breath, savoring the promise of discovery alive in each heartbeat. With renewed purpose, he advanced toward the horizon, no longer just seeking answers, but embracing the journey itself. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows that danced across the uneven terrain, each step echoing with newfound resolve. The wind whispered secrets through the branches, as if cheering him on, urging him forward. He paused briefly, eyeing the distant mountains that beckoned like silent guardians of mystery. Memories flickered of lost friendships, mischances, moments of doubt, and he let them fade, replaced by a clarity that burned brighter than before. The scent of wildflowers mingled with the earthy aroma of damp soil, grounding him in the present. Every stride felt lighter, liberated from the weight of unmet expectations. As the path twisted and turned, he discovered small treasures along the way, a smooth pebble, a full unleaf reminders that beauty existed in the simplest details. His mind spun with questions, yet he welcomed them, knowing that the journey itself was a mosaic of all those unanswered mysteries. Approaching a bend, he noticed a solitary hawk soaring high overhead, its wings outstretched in perfect freedom. It seemed to symbolize his own ascent, the risk of trusting the unseen. With each step, his heart beat in rhythm with the pulse of the wilderness around him. Steady and resilient, the horizon stretched endlessly, promising both challenge and discovery, and he embraced every moment of it. In that expanse of silence, he understood the answers he sought might never be fully revealed, and that was okay. The universe was whispering back, and he was finally listening. A gentle smile crept across his face as he pressed on, eager to see where the path would lead next, no longer chasing closure, but cherishing each step along the way. The sunlight filtered softly through the canopy, casting dappled shadows that danced on the uneven ground beneath his boots. Every crack in the earth seemed to whisper secrets, urging him onward, deeper into the unknown. With each step, the scent of moss and wildflowers grew more vivid, wrapping around him like a comforting embrace. His eyes scanned the horizon, half expecting some grand revelation, yet content to simply move forward without expectations. A breeze swept past, carrying faint echoes of distant water, hinting at a river or perhaps a waterfall nearby. He paused briefly, listening, feeling the slight tremor of anticipation in his chest. The trail twisted unexpectedly, revealing a small clearing filled with stones coated in luminous lichen, shimmering subtly in the dim light. There he noticed an abandoned notebook, pages fluttering as if caught in a secret conversation with the wind. Curiosity drew him closer, fingers brushing over the tattered cover. Stories of a traveler like himself etched in ink and heartache. For a moment, the weight of his journey softened to not in desperation for answers, but an acknowledgement of the past's quiet beauty. He sat on a fallen log, opening the book to find sketches, notes, and a single line, "Every step teaches a new silence." A gentle smile crept across his face as he realized that maybe, just maybe, this was the closure he hadn't known he needed. Rising again, he pressed on, the shadows lengthening but his spirit light and unburdened. The trail ahead curved out of sight, promising more mysteries, more quiet revelations to discover. He felt a renewed sense of wonder, embracing the unpredictability of each moment with open arms. The path continued to wind, whispering stories only he could hear. As he moved forward into the next chapter, the air grew thicker with secrets, each step pulling him closer to a revelation long, buried beneath years of silence. Shadows flickered at the edge of his vision, as if the forest itself was alive, watching and waiting. He paused briefly, listening to the faint hum of the wind, piecing together the puzzle of sounds that felt like an ancient language. Somewhere ahead, a faint glow shimmered, perhaps a sign of sanctuary or a trap cloaked in light. His hands instinctively brushed his coat, feeling the warm leather of his glove, ready for whatever lay ahead. The ground beneath softened, mossy and damp, muffling his footsteps but amplifying the weight of anticipation. A fleeting thought crossed his mind: had he truly left his debts behind, or were they trailing him like shadows? As the wind picked up, it carried with it a whisper not all stories are meant to be told. He tightened his jaw, steeling himself for the unknown. A sudden rustling in the brush made him halt, eyes darting through the darkness, senses heightened. Slowly he reached for his lantern, its flicker promising clarity or chaos. The path ahead curved sharply, promising a new turning point, either salvation or deception. Heart pounding, he stepped forward once more, eager to see what chapter awaited at the journey's end. His breath quickened as he reached out, fingertips brushing the edge of the open door. Shadows danced across the walls, flickering like whispers from a forgotten past. A faint scent of old paper and lingering rain filled the air, wrapping around him like a shroud. Inside, the room was emptier than he expected, save for a single, leather-bound book resting atop a worn desk. He hesitated, then gently lifted it, feeling the weight of countless stories within its cover. As he opened the tome, pages yellowed and fragile. A faint glow emanated from its center. Words began to emerge, shimmering with a life of their own, telling a story not yet finished. His heart raced even faster, because this was indeed just a book, this was a gateway. Without a second thought, he plunged his gaze into the unfolding rows, eager to discover the secrets they held.